Hi guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I will be showcasing the second build series of the COC Ice Nova Assassin. Now this is the medium budget version of the build and it costs about an estimated value of about 50 exalts. So the build is able to do every single content in the game. I've tried and tested it and this build excels the best in mapping. Okay, and furthermore, I will not be going through the mechanics of the cast on crit, whether is it the increased cooldown recovery speed or the attack per second mechanics, because I've already gone through that before. So if you would like to refer back or know more, you can always go to the starter or low budget build guide to check it out. Okay, so just let me give a brief introduction of this build based on the path of building. The Ice Nova have a DPS of 10 million, Frostbolt DPS of 2 million, Ice Spear DPS of 7 million, and a total of about 19 million DPS. Now, this DPS is actually not accurate, I am very sure of it, because I realized that I'm killing the boss much faster than my Carrion Golem, and my Carrion Golem build has about 40 million DPS. So yeah, something to take note over here. It also has 22% ICRS, 7.55 APS. We only have about 4k HP and 64% attack and spell dodge chance over here. Okay, so for the pros, this build actually clear maps extremely easily and extremely fast. It has a very large AoE. This build just covers all the ultimatum challenges very easily. It also has a high bossing damage because I'm utilizing Ice Spear over here instead of more AoE. And yeah, because due to the assassin build, this is extremely mobile with the elusive as well. And something nice to take note, it can do reflect maps. Okay, so how about the cons? First of all, this is a glass cannon type build. Basically, you kill them before they kill you. And you can't do no regeneration maps because in that case you will have lots of mana problems. And also one thing to take note, you will more or less die in maps if you just lag a little bit, because if you are lagging, you're probably going to just stand still and you're going to take free direct hit like you are just a sitting duck over there. Okay, and the last thing to take note is the items might actually be more expensive. It varies according to the Power Exalt economy because this build is very high in popularity. For the Ascendency, we'll be using the Assassin like I mentioned previously, and we're going to want to take 4 of these class nodes. One is the Opportunistic, next will be the Unstable Infusion for the power charges, Daily Infusion for more damage, and Mistwalker for our elusive. Okay, I'll go through the Pantheons and Bandits first. For the Pantheons, we're going to use the Soul of the Lunaris, where it gives us the additional physical damage reduction. But same like the previous build, what I'm really looking for here is the increased movement speed for each nearby enemy. We just want to go really fast for this build. And really fast, I mean in terms of mapping. Okay, the next one will be the Soul of Garukan, 5% to evade attack hits if you have taken a savage hit recently. And same, what we're looking for here is the movement speed. So 6% increased movement speed if you haven't been hit recently. Now you need to take note that you will have to capture the Stalker of the Endless Dunes. This is in deep map with the Divine Vessel. So do remember to do that. Otherwise you will not be having the extra perks of the increased movement speed. Okay, for bandits, my personal opinion is just kill all because we really need the 2 passive points. The passive skill points are actually hard to find on the skill tree. Otherwise, you can just help Alira for the small amount of resist and critical multiplier. Okay, I'll just quickly go through the skill tree. You can always look up for them again in the path of building. But yeah, what we really are looking for here is the, as I have shown, the 2 large cluster jewel sockets, 4 basic jewel sockets, the power charge nodes, attack and spell dodge nodes on the right, which is the acrobatics and phase acrobatics. We need some defensive layers over here. Critical multiplier nodes, some life nodes, We need the depth perception, which gives us the accuracy and critical strike chance as well, and the cold damage nodes with the trap of hope in the middle. Okay, on to the skill gems. For the body armor, your 6th-link, we are going to have Cyclone. Try to get this at level 20 with 23 quality for the extra area of effect. Next will be the Awaken cast on critical strike. Try to get this at level 3, and this is very important because if you are not at level 3, you are not going to trigger the spells much faster than intended. So what level 3 provides, it gives 14% ICRS, which is your increased cooldown recovery speed, and anything below it will be less than 14%. Okay, so next we have Ice Nova. I will really highly recommend this to be level 21 with 20% quality. Quality for the area of effect, not really very important, but still good to have. The reason for level 21 is because this is our bread and butter of the build. You want to have as much flat damage as you can. If you were to go to the path of building and change this to level 20, you can see a very huge damage difference in between. Okay, next, inspiration. Get this at level 20. The quality is not so important because it only affects duration. Same with hypothermia, level 20, and quality not so important. Okay, for the awaken cold damage, try to get this as high as possible because it also adds on to the flat damage, and have this at 20 quality because it provides you with an additional 10% cold damage. Okay, for our first cosplay, we're gonna have Frostbolt. Have this at level 20 with 23 quality because it's gonna give you 23% extra cold damage. Now, I don't put this at level 21 because level 21 is extremely expensive. So I just felt that 20 is enough because this is just used to widespread the damage that are not really on your screen or somewhere that you cannot reach. So 20 should work pretty fine. Okay, next we have Greater Multiple Projectiles. Have this at level 20. The quality is not so important, but it's good to have at 20. And the last will be Awaken added cold damage. Same for your 6th-link. Have this as high level and as possible, and the quality must be 20% at least because it's going to provide you with the additional 10% extra cold damage. For our second cosplay, we're going to use Ice Spear. Try to get this at level 21 with 20 quality. Now, I know Ice Spear is actually very expensive now, so if you can't really afford or you do not want to pay the price for a level 21, you can always get the level 20 Ice Spear. Not really an issue here. The damage difference is not very significant. So okay, next we will link it with Greater Multiple Projectiles. Have this at level 20. The quality is not really important. Same with hypothermia. Have this at level 20, and the quality is not really important because we just want the extra damage to shield enemies. Okay, so some of you might ask me why Ice Spear when you are running Ice Nova. The reason is very simple. Because we are already running Ice Nova and Frostbolt for our clear speed in mapping, we are always lacking the extra additional damage against bosses. So I decided to go dual weld with the cosplay, and on the second cosplay, we're going to have Ice Spear with the Greater Multiple Projectiles just to burst down the boss very fast together with the Dying Sun Flask. Okay, next we have the Debuff, the falling. This can be on your helmet. We're gonna go with the Vortex. Have this at level 20 with the 23 quality for the extra area effect, and then Hex Touch at level 20. The quality can be 22 or 23, it doesn't matter because the added value of that 2 more levels is the same. Okay, next will be Bone Chill. Bone Chill have this at level 21, and the quality does not really matter. We are really looking for the level 21 over here. You can have this at 0 quality. Same with Frostbite, have this at level 21, and it can be 0 quality. It doesn't really matter because it just affects the extra duration for it. Next will be our Aura, also the falling. This can be put on the glove. We're gonna go with Hatred. Have this at level 21, so the quality is not really important, it's just a bonus. Precision have this at level 20. Okay, so I think if you're gonna have this at level 21, you're gonna have mana problems. So put this at level 20. Herald of Ice have this at level 20 and 23 quality. 23 quality is for the extra cold damage. So again, of course, if you can afford a level 21 Herald of Ice, it will be nice, but it is very expensive at the moment. So I do not really recommend lots of level 21 at this point. And the Enlighten, it would be nice to have a level 4 one, but level 3 will work completely fine. Okay, last but not least, our movement plus utility skill gems. This can be put into your boots. So for the first one, I'm going to go with Frost Blink or Flame Dash. Now I personally use Frost Blink is because this is an instant skill where if you are channeling Cyclone, you can cast this instantly without stopping. And this is more used to get out of sticky situations. Like sometimes in Ultimatum, you will face problems of slowing down extremely slow or probably get hit and stunned a little bit, and then you'll stop channeling Cyclone and stuff like that. So before the mobs can actually get to hit you, you can always cast Frost Blink to get out of it and start channeling your Cyclone again. Okay, so have this at level 20, and of course have as much quality as possible. This is to increase the cooldown recovery. And link this with Arcane Surge. Same like the previous build guide, have this only at level 5. The reason is very simple. Every time you cast Frost Blink or Flame Dash, you are certainly going to have Arcane Surge, and this will provide us with the 12% extra spell damage, guaranteed no matter what. So the other option that I did not put here is actually you can remove Arcane Surge for less damage and put Steel Skin for more defensive layers. However, the only problem here is if you're going to have Steel Skin, you will need to find the extra strength attribute somewhere in your tree or items to do so, and there's actually quite a huge difference. So yeah, unless you can find about double of the current strength, you are always fine to use Steel Skin. Otherwise, just go with Arcane Surge. Okay, so for the utility portion, the first option will be to use Cast on Death with Porter, because this is just very convenient. If you die anywhere or any part of the map, you can always just come back and resume whatever you are doing. Okay, so for the second option, this is another of the defensive layer in case you felt that 4k HP is not enough and you will kind of make many mistakes along the way. You can always use this. Use cast when damage taken with Immortal Core. Leave it at level 1 and level 3 respectively. Okay, on with the jewels. The first jewel you will need is the Transcendent Flash. Now you can craft this with Tempered Flash and Veil of Transcendence, but you will first need to encounter the Altar of Sacrifice in the Temple of Azos. So this is also from Elva and it is randomly encountered. Okay, the second jewel you will need is the Militant Fate. This has to be converted by High Templar Dominus. Why is because High Templar Dominus, the jewel, will provide Inner Conviction, where it provides 3% more spell damage per power charge, and it gains power charges instead of frenzy charges. Now that one really not important, but with 8 power charges, we are actually having 24% more spell damage. That is a lot of damage boost. And on the Militant Fate, it is best to have the elemental damage mods of Devotion, and the rest is just a bonus, so not really important. The third jewel we will need is the Thread of Hope, and the Thread of Hope should only affect passives in large ring. Bear in mind, this must be in large ring. So you should cap your resistance very easily, so you do not really need to worry about the negative to all elemental resistance. Okay, the fourth jewel we will need is the Watcher's Eye. You need to look for the percentage to critical strike chance while affected by hatred, and this has to be at least 1.6% critical strike chance. You can always use Divine Orb to change it over again, otherwise just buy one directly off the market. But yeah, best to have 1.6 or 1.7 around there, because it affects our base critical strike chance. And the second aura modifier is a bonus, so you do not really need to look for a very specific one, because we all know the Watcher's Eye is very expensive. Like just for this one line of mod, the critical strike chance affected while affected by hatred costs nearly about 5 to 6 exalts already. Okay, next we're gonna need 2 large cluster jewels, and it must be affiliated with cold damage. Make sure to have this at 8 passive skills only, not more than that, otherwise we do not have enough points to add in our skill tree. Okay, so first of all, you want to have Prismatic Heart, and then the second one is Doyani's Lesson. This is the 2 most important, is a mandatory thing to have. And for the last one, you got to choose one. The best in slot is actually Blanketed Snow, but this is very expensive. To have these 3 mods, the prefix and suffix, is about 15 to 16 exalts. So yeah, the next best will be Blizzard Caller, and then Vengeful Commander and Blast Freeze. So from Blizzard Caller onwards, it is about 3 exalts or so it's still quite affordable. Okay, and adding any additional suffix is a bonus. Of course, best is to have strength so that you will not have problems with your cast when damage taken, Immortal Core, so on and so forth. Okay, next we're gonna need 2 medium cluster jewels affiliated with area damage. You can have this at 4 to 5 passive skills. It doesn't matter, it is actually the same. So yeah, do not fret. I know that 4 passive skills is actually very expensive. You can always get the 5 ones. But you need to have Towering Threat and Vast Power on it. So Vast Power actually gives us 20% increased area damage, plus 3% increased area effect per power charge, up to a maximum of 50%. So with our maximum power charge at 8, we're gonna have 24% increased area effect. And then with 2 medium cluster jewels, you're gonna have this at 48%. That is nearly at the maximum of it already. So how this works is, regardless of how many vast power you have, you can have 3 of this medium cluster jewel. It does not stack so drastically. It just reaches to a maximum of 50%, and that's it. Okay, and Towering Threat provide us with the 8% increased maximum life is actually what I'm looking for, otherwise it will be too extremely paper. Okay, we're gonna have another additional 2 medium cluster jewels affiliated with critical strike chance. Same like the previous, you can have this at 4 to 5 passive skills. It doesn't matter, it is the same. Okay, so look for pressure point over here and quick getaway. So quick getaway is for the extra movement speed. Like I mentioned, we want to go fast. And pressure point is more for the chance to deal double damage. So 10% is always better than nothing, right? Because we have 2 medium cluster jewels. And same, the additional suffix is just a bonus. Best to have strength, otherwise you can always look for your remaining resistance if you are lacking in any part. Okay, the last jewel we will need is the base jewel. We will need 4 of this, and you're gonna look for maximum life, accuracy, and critical strike multiplier. Okay, so for the accuracy, the minimum is 10% and the maximum is 14%. It doesn't matter. You can have 4 of this at 10%, it is fine. Because ultimately, once you have acquire all the accuracy modifiers that I've shown in this guide, you are going to reach 100% accuracy for sure. Okay, on to our gears. For the weapons, we're gonna dual weld the Cospriest Malaise. Look for 12% increased attack speed in both of them. It cannot be more, because if there's more attack speed on it, we're going to exceed the cap of 7.57 APS. So this only applies if you are following my build extremely carefully. Yes, it can be less. It can be lesser attack speed, but you're not going to trigger the ideal rate. So second thing to take note, this is very important. You must not have resolute technique on your Cospriest Malaise. I know a lot of people is actually selling the corrupted Cospriest Malaise on the market with resolute technique. Do not get scammed by that. The reason is because resolute technique will never deal critical strikes, like I've shown here on the screen. Many people have actually asked me, why am I not dealing any damage? Why is there no Ice Nova that is coming out? The reason is very simple, because you are having Resolute Technique on your Cospriest Malays. So having this will literally mean you are dealing 0 damage, because you are not critting and you are not dealing any physical damage from your Cyclone. Okay, next up, our helmet, we're going to look for maximum life with +1 to maximum power charges, and best is you have 1 open suffix slot if possible. So this is to craft the additional resistance if you are lacking in any areas, or even the strength attribute or whatever if you are required. Okay, so I know this helmet is actually very expensive. Like, it will probably cost about 2 to 3 exods. Sometimes if you're lucky you can get lesser than that. But if it's really too expensive, the other alternative here is you can just get a helmet with +1 to maximum power charges, and you need an open prefix slot so that you can craft maximum life on it. And if I remember correctly, you can craft about 70 maximum life to it. So yeah, this is just an alternative if it's too expensive. For our body armor, we're going to use the Carcass Jack. So for this, try to look for at least 65 maximum health with 45% increased area effect and 45% increased area damage. I know this is actually quite difficult to find. You will probably have to divine orb it many times, and yeah, just try your best. Otherwise, just make do with whatever there is. The all elemental resistance is not really important because you will probably cap it very easily. For the gloves, you're gonna look for fingerless silk glove, and the modifiers will be maximum life, fire resistance, lightning resistance, and 1 open suffix slot to benchcraft the percentage attack speed. Now I know this is difficult because the suffix is actually perfect. You need these 3. So if you are having difficulties finding all 3 of them, you can always neglect one of the resistance and then cover it somewhere else later on. Okay, so the next thing to take note, you must only craft 8% attack speed on the glove. So otherwise, you need to just keep rerolling until you get 8% attack speed. So together with the 12% attack speed on Cosplay Malays, both of them, you're gonna hit 7.55 APS, which is very extremely near to the ideal trigger rate that we want. For the boots, look for maximum life and at least 25% movement speed. Of course, best is you have 30 or more, and then fire resistance and lightning resistance. Nothing really special over here. If you can get tailwind, it will be best, but yeah, not really needed. For the amulet, you're gonna look for the Pandemonius. The Pandemonius is actually a jade amulet, and the alternative to get this will be to craft it with the Halcyon and the Blessings of Tool. So just use the Blessings of Tool on the Halcyon. Sorry, I don't really know how to pronounce it, whatever. But yeah, then you will get the Pandemonius. And also try to look for high percentage increase in cold damage. Because like I mentioned here, you're going to use the Turbulent Catalyst on the amulet, and this is going to affect the increased cold damage on it, as well as the damage penetrates the percentage cold resistance. Okay, and lastly, anoint the amulet with Divine Judgment. So Divine Judgment provides us with 50% increased elemental damage. That is a lot. So Divine Judgment is relatively cheap. You only need the Sapphire, Teal, and Black Oil. For the rings, you're gonna need Circle of Fear. You have to look for at least 55% increased cold damage while affected by Herald of Ice, and then any percentage to cold resistance while affected by Herald of Ice. So the implicit here is a bonus. There is no specific one that you need to get. Anything is fine. Just see whatever that best fits into your build. And also use the Turbulent Catalyst on the rings because it provides the additional damage to the cold damage while affected by Herald of Ice, as well as the flat damage on the ring itself. And also you will need 2 of these rings, so bear in mind. Okay, last for our gear, we will need the belt, which is the Stygian Vice. Look for maximum life, fire resistance, lightning resistance, and one open prefix slot so that you can craft the increased elemental damage with attacks. I don't have the benchcraft mod over here, but I think it's a minimum of 24% and a maximum of 32%. So yeah, best is to look for this belt. And then for the Abyss Jewel on the belt, look for maximum life, one accuracy mod, just 100 or more will do, and then one damage modifier. So the damage modifier, preferably you're gonna look for critical strike multiplier or just anything that is related to your cold damage or spell damage will be fine. Okay, last but not least, our Flask. So this is the Flask I am using. You can just change as and when you like. I am using the Quicksilver Flask of Adrenaline, which increase the movement speed. Diamond Flask of Warding, which you will be immune to curses. And then the Eternal Life Flask, anything will do, doesn't need to be seeding. And of course the Staunching mod, which is immune to bleed and corrupted blood. So for the last two, I really highly recommend, because first of all, one will be the Wise Oak, which you're gonna have the extra damage penetration for whichever resistance that is higher of the uncapped value, and you're always going to have cold resistance as your highest uncapped value, so you will always penetrate at least 10 to 15% of cold damage. And then the last one will be Dying Sun, which gives you additional projectiles, so that your Frostbolt will have additional 2 more projectiles, and more importantly is your Ice Spear will have 2 more additional projectiles. This is more for bossing and killing off those very high HP rare mobs. Okay, before I end this off, important things to take note while building your gear. Firstly is your attack per second, which is your APS. Please keep your APS as near as 7.57 on the path of building. Anything below is definitely fine, but do not go over it. Like I mentioned previously, if you're going to go over 7.57, it will not trigger the spell on crit as per normal. Because if you are going to not trigger it as per normal, it will drop your overall DPS, which means you're going to trigger probably 6 counts instead of 7 or 8. Okay, next is the accuracy. Always be at 100% or at least 99%. Like I mentioned previously in the previous build guide, the reason is because for each hit you miss, you are basically missing your chance to trigger a skill which drops your overall DPS. So I give you an example. If your accuracy is 90%, for every 10 hits you will miss 1, and in short we multiply our final damage by 0.9 times. Okay, the last one, this is not really important, but after trying and testing many times, I feel this is very good to have, which is immune to corrupted blood. You can find this on any jewel, corrupted jewel that has the implicit of you are not affected by corrupted blood. Now do take note that this is very expensive, so only buy this if you are rich. And yeah, the reason I am asking you guys to get this is because our life pool is actually very low, and you can die extremely fast to corrupted blood if you are not attentive enough. Like the Flask will not actually help you when you are at 10 stacks of corrupted blood. So yeah, do take note of this. Okay, so that comes to the end of my medium budget Cast on Crit Ice Nova build guide. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and do hop on to the Discord for the pastebin on path of building, and also the FAQ section is there if there are more things you would like to know. Also, the Discord has a section where questions can be asked, and the small community over there, including me, will be more than willing to help one another. Okay, once again, thank you for watching this video. Do remember to hit the like and subscribe button if you would like to see more content from me. I will see you again in the next video. Bye!